the council.
Councilman Fogarty. Councilman Lawson. Council Vice President Rego.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Souza.
Here.
Council President Rodrick.
Here, let the record show there is a quorum present. Councilman Lawson was not feeling well today and called, and he could not make the meeting. Please rise for the pledge.
States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you start the agenda, please?
Proclamations and presentations. St. Brandon, St. Martha's Boys Basketball Team accomplishments. Council President Rodrick.
So Councilman Fogarty, who was involved with CYO athletics and the Catholic League athletics, as well as a lot of athletics, he does think he's an official. I don't know how good he is on the court, but he has been a good coach. And he has been involved in both St. Martha's and St. Brendan's, which have kind of combined programs. And this season, that combined cadets basketball team won the Rhode Island State Championship. And then they went on to a New England tournament and almost made that, but they were runners-up. They did a great job all along the way. So, Councilman, it was a good suggestion of yours. And Councilman Fogarty will join with me at the podium, and our clerk will read off the names of the players who were able to make it tonight. We have 2 citations to give you, young men. Citation from the entire city council. We congratulate you on representing not only your basketball team, but the city of East Providence and the state of Rhode Island as state champs. And we have a second proclamation that the mayor has joined in to give to you also. So when we call your name, the clerk will call your name, and if you go up to that podium to your right and receive the proclamation, and then just stand in the front here before you sit down. So we'll begin, Councilman.
Sounds good. Yeah, I'd like to just say congratulations to PJ Shea stepped up. We lost a great coach, Bob Farrier, along the way last year to a sudden accident. And PJ Shea from St. Teresa's stepped up and coached these young men. And it was very well. I watched a few of their games, and they played very well with all their heart, and they actually won the state. So that was a very good accomplishment. I want to thank PJ myself. I coached the little 3rd and 4th graders, and soon to be growing with the program. I went to at least 2 or 3 of their games with the busy schedule, but thank you for doing that, and congratulations, guys. Very well deserved.
Parker Andrews. Wyatt Andrews. Benjamin Carlos. Alex Enright. Ryan Brooks Coyote. Tristan Lawton. Zachariah Prue. Jonathan Reynard.
That is Mr. Roderick's grandson that was playing. Great job. Definitely played well.
Philip Shea IV. Braden Ryan. I don't know. Coach PJ Shea.
PJ's got to say some words.
There you go. And then take a picture.
Never been afraid of a microphone, so thank you. So thank you, Councilman Rodrick, Councilman Fogarty, and the rest of the council and the mayor. Thank you for the support. Councilman Rodrick was a frequent fan of many of our games and a well-behaved one, so I always appreciate that. This team went through a lot of challenges this year, right? So they lost a longtime coach for St. Brennan's and Martha's for well over 25 years, often an opponent of mine, coaching at St. Teresa's in Pawtucket for over 25 years myself. But when our team at St. Teresa's did not have the opportunity to put together a cadet team, a high school team, I reached out to the only coach I trust to coach my kid other than me, and that was Bob Farrier. So he welcomed Philip onto the team. The rest of the team welcomed him on. And then, unfortunately, when Bob got sick and passed just before Thanksgiving, I was honored to step up and take his place and support the team and support the program and ultimately support the Catholic Athletic League basketball throughout the diocese. So it was an honor to step up and try to fill his shoes at the parish and do the best I could. And the team learned a different way of coaching, I think, that they weren't used to, maybe a little harder than they weren't used to at St. Brennan's and Martha, but they fought through that and they fought through the competition and battled hard all the way up until the end. And I'd be remiss if I didn't also recognize the parish coordinator that held the team together and held me together as well. Reagan in the back there. She's going to be mad at me that I'm calling her out, but she does a fantastic job with the program that she has. As one of the league administrators in the diocese, she's also one of the best coordinators we have across the diocese as well. So she does a fantastic job. She supported me in coming into a new program that I wasn't familiar with, coaching a bunch of kids that I wasn't really familiar with either. So thank you, Reagan, and for all that you do for the parish and for the youth of East Providence and the diocese. So thank you.
Reagan, why don't you join the team photo, please? And normally when we have teams in, they're a lot shorter than us, and we stand in the back, but we need to get on the front because Councilwoman Souza and myself, we won't be seen. Councilman Rigo either. Fogarty, you can stand.
I want to thank Reagan too. She did a lot to help me with the third and fourth graders because she stepped up and helped me, show me the way to handle the parents. So thank you, Reagan.
Coach, nice job. We know it's a vacation week, but you guys probably still have homework that you're studying. So you are free to leave. It's not rude. We don't mind if you all get up and head out. Parents are welcome to stay here with us until midnight if you'd like. But thank you all for coming and congratulations again. Madam Clerk, could you continue the reading of the agenda, please?
Executive session. The City Council of East Providence may meet in executive session pursuant to RIGL 42-46-5A2, claims and litigation, and sewer abatements.
I think tonight we can do that right here at the dais, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you. So the first one is the claim for, sorry, just lost my, a claim for property damage as a result of snow plowing operations with the Director of Public Works recommends approval in the amount of $287.20.
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fogarty to approve, seconded by Councilwoman Souza. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next one.
The next one are all sewer charge abatements for the amounts listed. They were all recommended to be approved based upon either water leakage or other, they all met the criteria under the ordinance. If you want to take them as a group, you can do that as well. It's up to you unless you want me to read them.
I think they have all been approved by the department head, and they are standard according to policy. This was water that did not get into the sewer system, so it's been standard to grant approval. Unless anyone has a question on any specific one, is there a motion to grant all together?
Motion to bundle and approve the 3 sewer abatements.
Motion to bundle the 3 together and approve the abatements. Is there a second?
I second that.
Second, and a comment by Councilwoman, yes. The total is,
Just add all the total
sure.
of the abatement.
Madam Clerk, if you want, or Solicitor, if you want to just read the individual amounts and then,
The claim of Hatham Chaded in the amount of $2,033.91. We charge abatement of Christine Johnson in the amount of $754.54. And the claim of RJD Real Estate in the amount of $459.09 are listed as on the agenda. Again, these are not payments that are made. These we credit against their bill. So we credit their bills.
okay. And the recommendation was for approval. We had the motion and the second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next item.
Number 3, show cause hearing. The following business is subject to a hearing for their alleged failure to obtain the appropriate license as indicated. A, business licenses, Subway, 1086 Willard Avenue, Riverside, Rhode Island. Needed information, Rhode Island Department of Health, Building and Fire, and Verticulating.
Is the business present? The Subway business, 1086 Willard Avenue, Riverside. Is there anyone representing them present? Mr. Solicitor, do you want to continue?
I think I would ask for a continuance for the next meeting. We will give them one last chance. We have sent them numerous letters and had contact with them. They have been very unresponsive to date. I'm reluctant to shut down an operating business, but I think at this point we're getting a little.
Are we aware? Have they been operating?
They have been operating, yes.
Okay. My only problem with these delays is we've done a few the last couple of meetings. Can it get away from us? I don't know that it was directly related. There was a recent fire in the city, and then there was something about an inspection that hadn't been totally completed. We had the issue with the vendor at Crescent Park that we kind of let that go with a long grace period, and then we are hearing that they don't want to come back, and we're scrambling at the last minute. So I don't know. I'd like to discuss that for a second. I mean, they've had plenty of warnings. Maybe they need, these are some serious areas. We're talking about building and fire, the victualling, and the more important, the building and fire and the Rhode Island Department of Health. So if they don't pass those and something happens, someone gets sick, or, why wouldn't they respond? They've had numerous warnings.
I can't answer that.
Right, I'm asking rhetorically.
We have gone on, this is the last one of the slew that we had over the last couple of months. I know the clerk's office has been working very hard to try to get the people to come in. This is the last holdout. As you know, the one that we talked about, the carousel, didn't come in. Expect them to come in because they weren't operating, and they eventually decided not to renew their license. But this is the last holdout. I'm willing to. We've given them many opportunities. I know the clerk's office has sent them numerous letters. I would just ask one last time for the next 2 weeks, and then if
Sure.
we would shut them down. But it's,
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay if you want to. I just want to make that point, and then going forward, I think we need to really hold firm.
I will
And-
tell you that it's rare to have just one out here. The city's done an excellent job of getting these licenses in order. So of all the businesses in the city that we issue, the licenses that we issue, we're down to one out of how many. So but I just don't know. There was a little confusion here because the person who previously owned the business sold it to a new entity, and apparently that person kept on renewing the license for the new entity, even though that person didn't own the business anymore. So that's another.
That's an issue in itself. I mean,
Well, we wouldn't know.
I know, but running a business so you're not registering it first with the Secretary of State. Now, where's the division of taxation?
We didn't know.
I mean,
We didn't-
I'm just saying there's a lot of other, you just put another red flag out there. I mean, we, as small business owners, I mean, if it's an LLC or if it's a C Corp, you have to register, May or September with the Secretary of State's office. And then as a taxpayer, and run businesses, are the taxes up to date? Are they paying their, taxes? We get 1% of that money as well. So it's just a red flag. It's almost like a shadow company is running this, and this has been going on since December 1. And as the council president talked about, my biggest concern, forget about the taxes and everything like that, is they're operating a food business. That's the serious nature of things. Why you should have the Department of Health get a certificate if you need the certificate. That's the most important thing, because an outbreak of anything that can happen in this day and age. So that's my biggest concern, is that the health certificate. I mean, as well as not obeying what every other business in this city has done, and they've abided by the rules. Some of them took a little longer. That's my concern, is more the health department issue.
Wouldn't the health department issue some kind of stoppage if they didn't get the?
The health department relies on the city, believe it or not.
Okay.
So if I may, through the chair,
Yes, Councilwoman.
having heard everything that everybody said up here, and I know we are definitely a pro-business community and want to continue to support pro-business, I do think, acting as the licensing board, we do have a responsibility to make sure that our businesses are also operating safely and within the rules and regulations, not only of the city, but of the state. And so with that being said, hearing that this business has had a change of ownership, we are not entirely sure that our communication with 100% accuracy is going to the right person, then I would think that maybe we need to just take the next step at the time, and that will gain the attention of whomever is operating this business to take action. So I would suggest to the council that someone from the city go in person and do a spot check and tell them that this business, is potentially being closed within 24 to 48 hours unless we hear back from the owner or manager of the business to come into compliance with the ordinance and the regulations.
On that note, I was just thinking here, if what the solicitor is saying about waiting to the next meeting, which would be our first meeting in May, that you as a solicitor with the clerk's office in the next 48 hours, draft a letter, call the chief of police to have a hand-delivered letter to that property, notifying them of the severity of this situation. And if they do not appear at the next meeting, the next day, there's a lock on the door. I mean, I think that's the fair way to, a combination, because it shouldn't be anybody from the city to go in and inspect it, because we don't have a other than the building inspector in the fire department to inspect.
Right, so it
Right,
looks like
so-
we have multiple things here. We
Yeah,
have
but
building
the-
and fire, which are city, and then
Yeah.
we have health department. So I
I
think,
mean, the fire department doesn't go out to it's just, then they don't go to every business every year and look for the renewal. So,
I think they're required in this case.
because of food, yeah, because of,
Transfer.
that's right, yeah, because of the transfer, correct.
You learn about that.
So that,
So in any event, there has to be a show cause hearing.
This is the show.
This is, right?
yeah.
So
so I think
if we
waiting-
put it off, though, we would still have to have,
So I
show
think
cause hearing.
my opinion, again, I think waiting 2 weeks to have them then come and say X, Y, and Z to then prolong it even further just isn't efficient. I think we can give them 2 weeks from the 24 to 48 hours from when they receive the handwritten letter to come into compliance by the next council meeting. So by the next council meeting, they should be, in my opinion, in full compliance, as is all other businesses throughout the city that are operating.
right. So in essence, it's giving them to the next meeting, which I think we should
But not a show
control it at that time, not a show cause, make the statement tonight that,
No, I think you should make a vote that they are
Right.
in default. And then the motion would be that find them in default, and the penalty will be that if they're not complied by May 1st, we will shut them.
right. So I will entertain a motion that should say that the vendor is in default of the licensing, and they have until the May 1st, is that the meeting date? May 5th meeting, and to produce the necessary documents. If not, then they will have to cease operation. Is there a
we
motion?
can draft this letter so the police can deliver it on Thursday.
But we need a motion.
Oh, no, I'm just
Yeah.
making sure.
We've done this in the
need-
past. We've
all right.
we've done similar letters.
I make a motion that we serve them with the letter, and that they have to be in compliance by the 5th of May, 2026.
Is there a second?
There's a second.
Councilwoman Souza seconds. All in favor? Aye. Is there anyone opposed? The ayes have it, 4-0. Thank you. Next item. Thank you, Solicitor.
Consent calendar for discussion and possible vote. A, council adjourners, number 1, regular meeting minutes, April 7, 2026.
Make a motion to approve the.
Motion, Councilwoman Souza to approve, seconded by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
Licenses for discussion and possible vote. A, non-public hearing. 1, one-day entertainment license, annual fees. Holy Ghost Beneficial, May 24th, 2026, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. One-day entertainment license, Holy Ghost fees, Trinity Brotherhood, 146 Seton Avenue, 5/29/26, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. One-day entertainment license, Holy Ghost Feast, Trinity Brotherhood, 145 Sutton Avenue, May 31st, 26, 5 p.m., 9 to p.m. One-day entertainment license, Parish Annual Feast, Sacred Heart Church, 118 Taunton Avenue, East Providence, 6/14/26, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. One-day entertainment license, Church Annual Feast, St. Francis Xavier Church, 81 North Carpenter Street, June 19th to June 26th, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. One-day entertainment license, Cinco de Mayo celebration, El Azteca Mexican Restaurant, 335 Newport Avenue, East Providence. May 5th, 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., one-day block party food truck event, 187 North Broad Street, East Providence, June 7th, 26, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. One-day special event annual feast, Holy Ghost Beneficial, 51 North Phillips Street, alcohol license, May 22 through May 24th, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. one-day special event alcohol license, Holy Ghost Feast, Trinity Brotherhood, 146 Sutton Avenue, East Providence, May 29th, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. Special event alcohol license, Holy Ghost Feast, Trinity Brotherhood, 146 Sutton Avenue, East Providence, May 30th, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. One-day special event alcohol license, Holy Ghost Feast, Trinity Brotherhood, 146 Sutton Avenue, May 31st, 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Special event, one-day alcohol license, Church Annual Feast, St. Francis Xavier Church, 619 to 626, 6 p.m. to 12 a.m. New business, type of business, new mobile food truck, Claudia Cornero, Davy School, Patriots Plates, 50 Jenkins Hill Road, Lincoln. New business, Sunday and holidays, Daniel Brennan, Starbucks. Business location, 50 Narragansett Park Drive, East Providence. Type of license, new business, mobile truck, Sugar Rush, 9 Westwood Road, Bristol. New business, mobile food truck, Charahoe School District, 455A Switch Road, Wood River Junction. New business, mobile food truck, Davies Career and Technical School, 50 Jenks Hill Road, Lincoln.
So, of course, those addresses that are not East Providence are the owners. That's not where the event is. If you haven't noticed, it's the feast season in East Providence as summer approaches. Does anyone on the council have a question about any of these specifically?
Do not.
If not,
All the
there are,
just all the schools. Just to remind people, that's the event down at Crescent Park. Can you? The date escapes my brain, Tracy, right now. Saturday, May 16th. It's a great event. That's why you're seeing all the schools there make an effort to go see the future entrepreneurs, chefs of the state of Rhode Island at that event. Some really great food.
thank you. Is there a motion to bundle first? All of the events. Can we bundle and approve? Oh, okay, so is it motion by Councilwoman Souza to bundle the events as read?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Rigo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Motion to
opposed?
approve.
The ayes have it. Councilwoman Souza moves to approve all of the licenses. Seconded by
I'll second.
Council Vice President Rigo. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. So those are all approved. And if anyone is interested in any one of those, the dates again, information, let us know. I'll let the clerk's office know, and we'll get you that information if you didn't get to jot it down. Next item.
Communications, Nancy Hill, historic Oldham property on Bullocks Point.
Ms. Hale here? Welcome. Just name and address.
Thank you. Nancy Hale, 889 Bullocks Point Avenue. I was on the docket last time, so I was more prepared then. We'll see how this goes. Some of you have received, I hope, some of you may have read the emails about talking about the historic Oldham property on Bullocks Point Avenue. Not necessarily the former Oldham, if we're going to get into that. So this is the Oldham School on Bullocks Point Avenue. And correct me as I go, because about 100,000 was allotted from ARPA funds for the roof. Is that right? I thought Rick would be here because he was going to discuss Oldham.
Right. The roof has been completed. That's done. I forget the exact dollar
It
amount.
was about half the 100,000, and the
Yeah.
other half of the money went
More,
somewhere else.
probably more than that, but it is done.
Approximately half, maybe 600,000. I've heard different things, but I've never seen anything in writing. But there's could be 4,000 or so, 400,000 left to go. But that money went somewhere else. So I'm wondering, does anyone know where that money went? That's a question, doesn't have to be answered tonight. Then the next thing is, does anybody have any feedback on some of the ideas that I've communicated through email? Another question I have is,
Those questions need to be directed. I hate to pass the buck, as the saying goes, but that needs to start with the administration on the plans and then would come to us. So, I mean, they're viable questions, but
viable.
Andre will be able to tell you where the money is, and there is a plan, and they are cultivating a situation down there right now. So,
What do you mean by cultivating a
well,
situation?
cultivating a plan. So,
Well, there was about 250,000 of non-taxpayer money spent on a feasibility study for a business incubator.
again, those are direct questions that need to be directed to the,
Okay, I have more. I have more which may be directed in the same area, but then you'll know what the questions are. I thought Rick would be here tonight, and he was going to talk about Oldham School as well. When we, some of us, I was there, Rick was there, went to the presentation that the feasibility study company did, they had planned housing there, which was a complete surprise to many of us. I remember on their diagrams counting about 96 units of unknown size, unknown value, and 90 parking spots, which was already kind of like, where are they going to put visitor cars, delivery cars? There just doesn't seem to be space there altogether for more housing. The land might be able to build, but there's other things that happen when you have more people in an area where it's pretty concentrated already. So my ideas are to keep the space green and not let Oldham go the way of Metacomet, and to developers, that we don't have control over city property when the developers get going, really. We don't want to have to fight for our own city property or for a school, which Rick has been, he's not here, I can't speak for him, but he has suggested that we should maintain the building and keep it at least minimally functional as a school in case we need a school in that area again.
So a bid process is underway.
I know.
Right. So when that comes in from administration, it will be addressed by this council, and the last say will be here on that plan.
excuse me, right now, everything's speculation. There's not a plan that's been put in front of this council.
Well, there's a bid for something, which would be a bid for qualifications, basically, RFQ. It's closed.
Close.
The bid process is closed.
So you
it's
have
now.
someone, you've contracted with the developer?
No.
No, what does it mean? Or do you want to wait till you're up here?
So I just,
I'm not here at every meeting.
Ms. Hale, so a request for qualifications or a request for proposals came in. I believe the city got one proposal back.
I heard something.
Right, and that's under review right now by the administration. I don't know where it's under review. It has not been brought before the council. It may not be a plan or that the city is
Right.
willing to entertain.
So
at
we
this
don't
point.
know enough yet, really.
Well, we know what there's been a submittal of a plan, but it's
One-
under review. But
Does that include housing, or is housing off?
Andre, if you're going to answer, you have to use the mic. Thank you.
Nancy, thank you for your question, and we can always meet on this offline. I did give this update 2 council meetings ago. If there's not a small business incubator component, then we will not proceed. But we are looking at and going to meet with the people that submitted their RFQs as part of our due diligence process. Thank you.
Okay, there was always the feasibility study was supposed to be for business incubator only. So I guess I want to hear at some point that housing is not being considered there anymore. Or how much housing? I think Rick has, I, I understand. It's okay. I have a lot of questions. They don't all need to be answered tonight, but Rick has stated many times, I've been here many times, it's not something that that the people of Riverside, the people who live in East Providence have been asked about. And I would say from the discussions I've had, the people I've listened to, we haven't heard anything about the housing that we would like. And I am, again, speaking mostly for myself, but I know that I'm not alone.
So I think, Nancy, that the time will come when you can be there as well as anybody else and make comments on whatever proposal comes to us. We don't have it yet. The administration.
I'm talking
hang
to
on,
the
let me finish.
Administration now, right? I understand your situation.
Okay, so what's your further question?
I will wait for further information about a business incubator. That's my position. That's the only thing I can do.
Business incubator and anything else that's recommended.
Well,
and then we'll go
some
from
of
there.
my ideas were some of the businesses could be sustainable, possibly a little bit of gardening or farming, so that we keep some of our green space and sky in Riverside.
Yep, I hear you. Thank you, Nancy.
Number 2, Brown University held a proposed emergency stroke research study that may involve EMS services in the city. Ana Lucia Garcia.
Hi, you're welcome. Just identify yourself for the record.
Hi, I'm Ana Lucia Garcia Guarniz. I'm a stroke neurologist at Rhode Island Hospital, part of Brown Health University, and thank you so much for having us today. Today I'll be presenting a possible study that we're running with EMS and the fire department. Chief Carey is here with us. Thank you so much. And the ethics committee is also here. The purpose of this presentation is to inform you what will happen in case the study is approved, and also to ask for suggestions and think if this is feasible in your community. So to summarize the study, it's basically a way to find out if a patient has a large clot in their brain before they get to the hospital through a brainwave method. Next slide, please. So we'll talk a little bit about what usually patients get when they are en route to the hospital, how the study works, and then we'll ask for your input, again, if you think this is feasible and if it feels right for you. Just to think a little bit about strokes, what you see in TV, in the movies, it's a large clot that can happen inside of your brain. And when you have a large clot, 75% of the patients can end up dead or have a severe disability, meaning that they cannot walk, they cannot do their day-to-day activities. So within the past 10 years, there has been a new method, which is a surgery to remove the blood clot. This method does not exist everywhere in all of the hospitals. So it's really important that when you think a patient has a large clot, then a patient goes to a tertiary hospital, meaning a large hospital that can give you this opportunity, this treatment. Next slide, please. Okay. So usually when a patient has a stroke or a symptom that looks like a stroke, EMS gets on the scene, the fire department, and then they do a quick scale. It's really easy. They check if your face becomes droopy, if you can grip with your hands, and if your arms are weak. And then it gives you a scale. And with that scale, then they decide if you are possibly having a large clot in your brain, and you can be triaged to a higher degree hospital, tertiary hospital, with the opportunity to having this clot removed. Now, in real life, it's actually not as in the study, 76%, but only 65 or 67% of the patients are well diagnosed with this method. So many patients are missed. So our idea is to have another way to diagnose which patients have a blood clot in their brain. Next slide. Okay. So the study that we're proposing is a patient has a stroke in their home or in the field. They are activating EMS. EMS does the usual things that they always do, which is their stroke scale And then also a patient will get a brainwave study. And we're going to show the pictures, but it's a really easy helmet that goes on top of them. It's not going to really interact or affect the way they are triaged to a hospital. Next. So that's the picture. It's a rubbery helmet, a plastic helmet that just go on top of you. It doesn't really hurt. It's just, it captures your brain waves. And the idea is that it's placed within 30 seconds of the EMS personnel seeing the patient. And again, the EMS will continue doing whatever they would do usually for a patient. Next up. So then the patient arrives to the hospital. They decide if the patient does have a large clot, and then they get the surgery if they need to, and then we collect that data. Next up. And then we also will collect the brainwave activity. Now, the reason why we are here, it's because this study is particular. Usually, clinical trials, they ask for permission for the participants before they enroll a patient. The importance of that is because we want to make sure that someone is choosing freely and that their rights are respected. Now, this specific study, it's particular because patients, unfortunately, when they have a stroke, they don't always have the opportunity to talk. Many of them cannot understand, they're altered, they cannot voice, understanding what you're telling them. So what we are proposing in this study is an exemption for the informed consent, which means once you get to the hospital, then we'll ask either the patient, if the patient's awake, or their family member, or their legal representative. We won't ask them at the time that the brainwave device is placed. Now, if their family or the patient declines to be part of the study, we would not use their data. So this is very important. Now, do you think that sounds reasonable? Do you feel comfortable with that? That's one of our questions. And then we'll put up a survey for you. And then for those that do not feel comfortable with that, we'll put a phone number so you can opt out of the study, and we'll mail you a bracelet that you can wear that would say that you would not get the EEG recording. Next. So again, just to clarify how this is uploaded, your brainwave activity data does not go with your name. It just has numbers. For example, instead of my name, Anna, it will have RIH, the hospital 001. It would not be collected with any of your information. It will be de-identified. And this is how we'll collect it. Next steps. And now, important things. What are the risks of this device? Basically, like any brainwave activity, it can cause some irritation because it has a glue. That can happen with any kind of machine you get, even in the hospital. If that were to happen, we can always remove it. There can be some, creams that we can put there. And the benefits, it's more to think about benefits for the community and future patients like yourself, but not necessarily for the patient, because we won't be sharing the brainwave activities with each one of the patients. Next. And as I said, what is important of this study is to try to get a faster diagnosis for those that have a blood clot in their brain, to see if that can improve the outcomes, getting a surgery faster, a better recovery time, and then hoping to see if this can triage better from EMS to the hospitals. Next. And then finally, what we want to see is also if implementing this brainwave activity device, it actually makes sense and it would work outside in the real world for other potential rural places, for example, around America. Next. Okay, next one. And so just to clarify everything before I put the survey there and I answer your questions, is that a patient gets a stroke on the field, we call out EMS, the fire department, they get to the scene, they do an exam the same way they would do it, they put this helmet that takes 30 seconds to be placed, you go to a hospital, we ask for your permission or your family permission in the hospital, you get exactly the same care as you would do with or without the helmet. We collect your data if you allow us to collect it, and then we'll follow up with you to see how well you've recovered at the end. Next slide. So I just wanted to bring it up for you in case any of you can answer those questions. Do you have any concerns about the patients or the participants not being able to voice saying yes or no to put the helmet on before they get to the hospital? Or does this make sense?
Hang on one second. I just was ready to defer to our medical person on the council, that's Councilwoman Souza, what you're thinking here. And then we'll go to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Doctor, for being here today and presenting this amazing technology that is being offered to our community. I do have, obviously, a ton of different questions. I am a neurospine nurse, so this is kind of my field house, unfortunately. So a couple of things, they're probably going to be more direct questions than maybe my other council members. So one, I think that it is a great idea to have this as an option or tool in our community in the immediate. One of the questions, and I think this is probably more of a logistical question for our chief and administration, but I'm assuming they would have multiple devices at all of our firehouses.
For East Providence.
Correct.
Could I just interrupt? Fire Chief, could you join the podium? And that way, if you want to join in, you can. Councilwoman, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you. But they would only be used on, so if we're doing a call for service, as in another community, we would not be using that on those residents. It's strictly for residents within our community.
I would imagine it could go either way. If they decide to go to other surrounding mutual aid communities and decide to do the same presentations, this all comes down to it's a study. So they're looking
Right.
for quality data.
Mm-hmm.
And we treat patients all the time for, implied consent because they can't consent
Correct.
and we have to do life-saving measures. This isn't part of our protocol. It's a study.
Right.
So they're going to reach out to the community and say, do you think this is a bad thing or a good thing?
Yeah.
To me, it's as innocuous as putting on a seatbelt, for lack of a better term. The data is getting captured. It's not interfering with our protocols. They're still going to follow the stroke protocol and do everything we do now. No delay in patient care at all. The whole thing is to capture that data that they're going to use in the future to develop EEG to be able to be field usable to identify LVO for all EMS providers.
Okay.
Every piece of equipment in the field that we have has gone through this process over the years. But this one, if this comes to fruition, I see this as not just local or state. This is a national impact because there's no study like this right now. I believe there was one small study in the Netherlands, but very small picture of patients, and they got some good results. So I applaud them for heading in this direction. If you saw the latest episode of The Pit, they actually showed that device in the ER, the last episode. So these are new. But then I believe there's 2 or 3, maybe 4 that are now FDA approved. So they're starting to see what the mobility and applications can be. And LVO, you know LVO, right? Severe impact.
Yes.
Most of our patients don't ever recover, or if they do, it's a very small percentage. We've been involved with the stroke protocol and study since 2024. I can give you numbers. I like to give you stats.
Yeah, that's great.
So since January of 2024, we've done 264 patients that were referred by the stroke protocol. And out of those 76, we received the stroke feedback. Feedback comes back to how well we did compared with the stroke protocol. That's scaled 1 to 10. We've never got anything below a 9. Our agency has been pretty hard on this for the last 2.5 years. And we're always amenable to any new changes or new devices that we can use in the field to make patient care better. Community harm reduction is our warehouse, right?
Thank you.
And just to answer, thank you so much.
Good.
Just to answer that question, primarily in East Providence, but potentially can extend to adjacent areas that have a catchment within Rhode Island Hospital.
Right. So just because I know you said we were starting here and I didn't know how
Mhm.
quickly you were spreading out into the neighboring communities.
So we have presented the study outside of East Providence as well, and we are asking for the ethics committee approval for adjacent communities. But the devices will be at the East Providence fire station. Yeah.
And then the data that's on the device,
Mhm.
is it attached to something else? Is there like a box that comes
No,
with it?
no.
Or is it like a chip that you or plug in that gets plugged in at the hospital? How is that?
So we removed the helmet
Mhm.
and then we plugged it in, and that way we obtained the data.
Okay, and that's initially when they get to the emergency room. It
Correct.
comes off, and then
Mhm.
they start the protocol in the
And
hospital.
then it gets uploaded into a cloud, and it will get uploaded just with numbers, not with a name.
And then how do you determine, so later on, if they want to be part of the study, how do you determine which individual is assigned to which number?
So within the hospital, in a locked database that no one else can access, the numbers that are on the cloud will be matched with the names on the medical record, but only in the hospital we will have access, only the study personnel.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's amazing. I think it's great. Anything that advances early indications of any disease process that we can identify sooner than later, because time is tissue, right?
Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President.
My question was, obviously, the first 4 hours of somebody having a stroke, if I'm correct, are most
Mhm.
times. So if the clock's ticking and you happen to come home and find a loved one who is suffering a stroke and not knowing the time, and you piece it all together, like where are you as far as that person and going to the trauma center? More than likely, in this case, would be Rhode Island Hospital. So, uh, obviously, I understand about the study, but will that emergency room have that information so that that trauma team is seeing what is going through that headset at that
Brainwave.
time? Brain-
It's a great question. And probably maybe in the future, if this gets approved and we actually show that it works, but at the same time that we're doing the study, we won't be providing the information. The importance of that is we don't want to bias the medical team on their treatment at the time. But after the results come back, then later when we actually use it in the community, it may be something that we can offer. Mhm.
Thank you, Councilman. Look, questions? Fire Chief Carey, so this is something you're all aboard with, I
Yes.
take it?
Yes, we're 100% on board with it.
Yep. It's a good thing.
So we are supposed to collect over 100 patients, so it's probably going to last a little bit over 9 months to a year, optimistically, but it may last longer as long as we collect the amount of patients.
I hope it lasts for a long time. That means there's less people in East Providence having strokes. So I would like to see it last 10 years. I mean, that way, so I don't want it to be a short study. I want it to be a long study.
Yeah, I know. We very much wish that stroke goes down. Just going back into the feedback form, it would really help us for those who have not been able to voice their suggestions or their concerns in that QR code. And for those who want to opt out of the study, you'll find a phone number there that's going to lead to a research coordinator, and then we'll mail you that bracelet to opt out of the study. But again, you can opt out at any time when your family decides, when you get to the hospital.
So out of curiosity, and I'm in full support, but what is your funding source?
So it's a seed grant that goes through Brown University
Okay.
that has been provided.
Logistically, Mr. Solicitor, what is the role of the council
Well,
here?
that was my next question. So what is the role? I know you're here presenting the study or the parameters of the study. Are you looking for a formal approval of this council, or are you just here to give us information, and then obviously it would be up to the fire chief as a department head to
Yes.
So this is just
So
community
it's just engagement. We still need the ethics committee. If you want to put the next slides. Yeah.
So this is all about community engagement. They did meet with myself and the mayor and went through the whole process with the mayor. The mayor's in favor of and willing to do some public information and outreach at different venues, say the senior center, maybe a town meeting at night in a select location, yet to be determined. They need to try to get as many people in the community to see this, sign up or say that, yep, they're for it, they're not for it. It's to make sure that they have enough, and ethics will speak to that. I would leave the QR code up for, after this is done, till the end of the meeting. So anybody at home who's viewing the council meeting live, they can actually do the QR code in their phone and go through the process.
Through the chair.
Yes,
Uh,
Councilman.
Mr. Solicitor, would it be would it be something about putting it online, or would that be not ethical to do? Like we had it on like our EMS.
Yes,
fire
so
department.
it has, the slides have been approved by the ethics committee, so we would love for them to be online. We have them in Spanish and Portuguese. The survey is also in Spanish and Portuguese as well, and it would really, really help to hear your thoughts about the study. We can put the QR code, I think, at the end. This is just what we were talking about, and that.
So I think another, other than the city using social media, our social media or our website to provide the number and QRS code, I think maybe if Brown utilized our local newspaper, our reporter or our post to put that out, that's out in every store. Business, and then we get all residents get the reporter monthly. That might be a good way of reaching everyone to get more of that feedback that you're looking for.
Yeah, we would love that if we can do that. We'll talk to you about how to put that out.
Sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
So final question from me, those hats, we get 5 of those to measure the brain waves of the council at times? You don't have to answer that.
You might be allergic to the gel.
Thank you very much. You have any closing comments?
No, thank you so much for giving us this
I
platform.
appreciate your patience. I know you were here at a prior meeting too, and thank you for dealing with our logistical
Thank you
stuff.
so much, and thank you to
Appreciate it.
Gary.
Suggestion, I have 3 towers for senior living in my district. I think if you can coordinate, I know the chief talked about the senior center. I think if you go around, and there's one down in Riverside as well. I think if you go to the local when they have their coffee hour or a meeting or their monthly meeting, I think it would be very appropriate there, as well as maybe some of the local churches, because obviously strokes can hit anybody at any age when you hear athletes, and even some of the organizations. I had a relative who's no longer with us that had a couple of strokes, and I see it, and whatever support I can give you in my ward, I will be right there with you. I think this is a fantastic idea, and I'm glad you picked East Providence. I'm glad that the chief has pushed this forward.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And for those who can use QR codes, Skylar has the actual printouts if you can fill out the survey. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Thank you, Chief. Okay, Madam Clerk, next item.
Number 9, public comment, Clay Graham.
Hi, welcome. Just your name and address.
My name's Clay Graham. I'm at 59 Grosvenor Avenue. Let me just bring up my notes real quick. So I am here tonight representing East Providence community as well as other residents of East Providence advocating for safer streets. On behalf of EPIC and Providence Streets Coalition, I would like to invite all of you on the council and anyone in the room to join us for the first ever East Providence Fam Jam on May 2nd at 1 in Riverside Square. Fam Jam is an all ages bike ride and celebration of safer streets and just general access of biking infrastructure by families. So please join us. For more information, please check out East Providence Community on Facebook, Instagram, or Blue Sky. I have 2 flyers here and there's some flyers outside. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So thanks.
Thank you. You've done a great job. I assume you've already done this. Have you talked to the police department about an escort during that ride? Or there's a lot of traffic in the area.
The route is like designed.
Just on the path itself?
It's going to be in side streets and mostly on the bike.
That's what I thought. So if it's side streets,
But the group is with Providence Bike Jam. That's a lot of experience of like having these large bike rides, and they've had like a dog jam, a Guy Fieri jam, other fam jams. So I think we're pretty well prepared.
yeah, sounds good.
Thanks.
Thank you for coming.
Candy Sale.
Streets. Welcome.
Thank you, Council President. I'll take 5 minutes of your time if you could indulge me tonight.
Continue.
I'm here this evening as a resident and as a Candy Seal, South Rose Street, East Providence. I'm here this evening as a resident and a representative of Keep Metacomet Green. I and we support Councilwoman Sousa's resolution to request that RIDEM conduct a community meeting on the soil remediation plan for the Metacomet site. I and we respectfully ask that you support it as well. For the benefit of council members and members of the public who have not followed the situation closely, allow me a moment to summarize the timeline that led to this plan. In January 2025, Sage Environmental, the developer's consultant, was made aware of the release of hazardous materials on the site. This was reported in writing to RIDEM in March of 2025. Discussions were held among the relevant parties, and it was determined that temporary mitigation efforts would be put in place while a permanent remediation plan was being finalized. A notice was sent to abutters by mail in June 2025, and a notice published in the Post served to inform the general public. Coincidentally, toward the end of its 2025 session, the Rhode Island General Assembly increased the maximum acceptable standard of arsenic contamination so that the 80-plus spots previously recognized as hazardous were reduced to 3. After more discussion and in light of the reduced standard, a soil blending technique was agreed upon in March of 2026. Soil blending, at its most basic level, is basically mixing good soil with bad until an acceptable result is established. This plan was agreed to by RIDEM with the condition that the public have an opportunity to comment. A public notice dated April 2nd was sent to abutters, although this time the general public was not informed. The public comment period was limited to 14 days from the date of the letter, ending on April 16. Comments had to be in writing either by email or snail mail. After canvassing a number of abutters, we realized that not only was the comment deadline too soon, but that a community meeting was necessary for the abutters and the general public to hear firsthand about the planned technique and to have an opportunity to engage in a question and answer session. When we then reached out to RIDEM and were able to gain an extension of 10 more days with a new deadline of April 28. We were informed, though, that RIDEM's remediation regulations only allow for a community meeting under certain circumstances. 1, a minimum of 25 public comments, which we are working on, or 2, a request from a governmental subdivision or agency, or 3, an organization with at least 25 members who could be expected to use the contaminated site when redeveloped. We took this matter to the Waterfront Commission at its April 16th meeting, recognizing that the commission is the primary governmental subdivision with authority over the waterfront district. Unfortunately, in the rush of time, we did not ask for a vote to be placed on the docket. It became apparent to us, though, that the commission most likely would not have taken a vote to request a community meeting. Chairman Fazioli and Commission Attorney Goins made it quite clear at that meeting that the commission's only responsibility at this point is to check off council and commission conditions of approval as the developer completes them. And so we turn to you. The city of East Providence itself is an abutter of the Metacomet site, mainly through the Pierce Athletic Complex. There has not been one word from the city administration to the public about this since the hazardous materials situation was identified in January 2025. To our knowledge, not one flyer has been posted. Don't the athletes and families who use those fields daily deserve a community meeting? How about the cyclists and walkers along the bike path and the golfers on Met Links? They are all temporary abutters as well. As we have discussed here before, the investigation did not extend to Met Links nor to the 9.6 acres that will be deeded to the city for public use. Don't we as a community deserve to know why? Keep Metacomet Green requests that the council join our call for a community meeting for the public good. This should happen at a local meeting place such as Weaver Library at an hour convenient to the working public, such as 6:30 or 7 p.m. It does us little good for RIDEM to schedule a community meeting at its administrative offices on Smith Hill during the workday. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Comment? Yes, Council.
I have one comment, Mr. President. Mr. Solicitor, with the city, as Mrs. Seal pointed out, is an abutter, do we have a copy? I mean, we saw the notice and everything, but do you have the actual copy of of this report?
I have a copy of Sage Environmental Report that was given to me by the attorney for them after I received the letter. I called him and asked for it, so I do have a copy.
So
of
we
that.
do have a copy of it.
I can happy to share that with the council. I haven't read it, to be honest with you, but I just got it the other day. But the purpose of this, if the council does, and I know Councilwoman Souza has already reached out to DM, the purpose of this meeting would be to basically inform the public as to what the remediation measures are, what they found at the site and whatnot. I want to make it clear, and I think there's that they only test those areas where there's going to be a disturbance. So that's why that you didn't test the golf course, because there's no disturbance on a golf course. So that's part of their environmental review, but they're more, and it may be very interesting and informative to you to find out why they tested, where they tested, and what. So that's all DM in DM.
Yeah, those are the type of things that are going through my mind right now.
Right. But
You know,
but the letter is clear that if the governmental entity requests such a meeting, and I think Councilman Souza asked this put on the agenda, I'm assuming that my understanding is that the meeting has already actually been requested for, and they may actually be already heading in that direction anyway, but it would help to have a council request for it.
could we have this at a regular council meeting instead of? I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Councilman, I didn't mean to interrupt. What I don't know is that the meeting is the community meeting is hosted by DEM, Rhode Island DEM. We don't host, we ask for the meeting, but it's up to them to organize it and find out where it is.
It
Now,
probably should be a separate night.
Yeah.
so all right.
And I don't know, and I think, sorry, go ahead.
I was asking, could we summon, not using, not the legal summon, but I should say request that a representative DEM comes to one of the meetings in May, probably the second meeting in May, because we have the next meeting's front loaded.
Yeah, I think,
So-
I mean, you certainly can request that. But I think the purpose of the regulations that they have is that if a governmental entity requested, they schedule a community meeting for which that you obviously would be invited as a member of the public, as a member of the government entity, but it would really be up to them to schedule that meeting, and that's where the information would be relayed.
Mrs. Seal, you had an inquisitive look there. Would you like to comment?
Oh, I often have an inquisitive.
This is true.
Mr.
Permanently.
Mr. Council President, thank you.
I just want to give you the opportunity to back and forth.
No, I'm all set. I thank you for your time, and I will submit a copy of this for the public record to the city clerk. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Councilwoman, did you want to
Well, I was just going to say, I do have this on the docket.
Yeah,
so
we
if we
can
can bring it up.
bring it up then?
continue the conversation, or
Yeah.
I mean, we're
Yeah, let's bring that up now. If we could go to that.
yeah,
Yeah, we have other comments first.
so-
I do agree. I mean, I do agree. If we're going to have a public meeting, I think it should be.
But it wouldn't be ours. It would
No,
be
but
right
yeah,
then.
but
So-
I
so
think we
Council
should
Vice
request that it should be here in the council chambers so that we can get recorded. Because if you do it at the library, I think this is an important.
It's up to right
Important
then.
well, I mean, we can schedule the meeting. We should suggest it's here so that it's videotaped and it's on a feed so that not everybody's going to make it, and obviously at a time. I don't want to have them schedule the meeting at 10 o'clock in the morning. I think it should be scheduled at 6 o'clock at night so that the working people of the city of East Providence can be there and fair.
Oh, that's what she said.
Yeah, well, I'm just agreeing with her on this, and it might be nothing might come out of it, but I think it needs, in this day and age, it needs to be out there so that the citizens of the city see the process that's going on.
So, council members, so this is obviously on the agenda to discuss, but since the council vice president's bringing up some of the questions or comments that I'm already have answers to and have inquired about. So this is on the docket again at the request of constituents and residents and abutters. And I know we do have more on the public comments to speak, and I do want to give people their opportunity to speak, but just to answer some of the Vice President's questions, I have been in communication with RIDEM. I have had correspondence, and those requests have already been made that in consideration of the meeting, which is underway, they are working internally to schedule the interested parties that should be at the meeting and engage that. They're also looking at times to host it. That was one of the requests, that the meeting be held locally here in East Providence and that it should be after the hours of 4 or 5 so that all residents and neighbors concerned and abutters could be present at that meeting to get the most engagement as possible, and that everybody's transparently aware of what's going on. So thank you for agreeing with that, that sentiment.
Thank you. Are there other people that have signed up?
Yes. Joseph Baxter.
Hi, welcome. Just name and address.
Good evening, Mr. President and members of the council. My name is Joseph Baxter. I'm here as an attorney representing Metacomet Property LLC, the developer of the proposed development at the Metacomet property. My office address is 1 Turk's Head Place in Providence. I believe my colleague from my firm, Josh Berlinski, sent some written comments to the council this afternoon, but I just want to highlight a few points that are relevant to the discussion here. The first being some archaeological concerns that have been raised at the Metacomet site. So the developer has engaged the Public Archaeological Laboratory, Inc. to conduct field work that has been going on and off, depending on the season, since 2024. As I'm sure you're aware, this just resumed in March for this year. We anticipate the field work to be done this coming June. To date, as an archaeological concern, there have been no remains discovered on the site, which I know is a concern that was talked about in the community. And additionally, the Rhode Island Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission has set some requirements for the involvement of the Narragansett tribe, as I'm sure you're aware, and just wanted to reiterate that they have been involved and will continue to be, and that the Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission has found that the developer has satisfied the requirements as to the tribe's input and involvement in this process. Specifically to the environmental remediation concerns that have been raised, I just want to bring up a few points.
I just have excuse me for interrupting. It's great that you involved the Narragansett tribes, but did you contact the tribes that are indigenous to this area, like the Wampanoags? I mean, there's other tribes that should be contacted besides the Narragansett because of the heritage and the history of it. And I'm not talking about I'm not talking about if this should be built or not built. That's out of our realm already. But if you're gonna go through the process of transparency, I think the proper group should be also notified of because they are recognizable, tribes in this area, and they should have a sign off on that. Just besides the Narragansetts, which if you look at the history, really weren't in this area at the time that there could be any burials.
Yes, so those requirements I mentioned, some of them specifically mentioned the Narragansett tribe, but I just wanted to check the name. There have been representatives from other tribes on the site recently, including this week, including the Mashpee Wampanoag, members of the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe. Yes.
Just a quick question to follow up off of that, sir. Is there an account of those who are present on site? Is there a sign off? Is there any way? So if the public wanted to know who specifically was on site monitoring or taking samples or watching, that we would be able to access that information versus just taking somebody's word for it? Not that I don't believe, but
Yeah,
evidence.
I don't have any, log with me or anything like that. But
Not tonight, I would imagine you did.
Yeah,
But I'm saying in general at the site, is there any way of documenting who has been on site from which entities that are overseeing the process?
I'll have to check on that. Certainly, I haven't reviewed anything myself, but I
Right,
can
yeah, I'd
certainly
like to know
check
that.
in. Sure.
Thank you.
So just as I was saying, to go to the environmental remediation concerns that I know are top of mind. So as has been discussed, there was the DEM site investigation revealed that there were 3 precise locations on the site where arsenic levels in particular exceeded the regulatory standard, which now is 19 parts per million. And it's been said that it's likely due to the site's former use as a golf course. and that some soils in Rhode Island are just typically higher in arsenic than others. And the proposed remediation by SAGE, as was mentioned, calls for a blending process wherein fill is mixed in with the existing soil and retested until that soil reaches arsenic levels which satisfy the regulatory requirements. And by way of background to this issue, as was also mentioned, the legislature last year changed the law, the regulation, from what was 7 parts per million to what is now 19 parts per million, the allowable level of arsenic. And just by way of comparison, at the time that the law was changed, neighboring states, one being Massachusetts, regulatory requirements was 21 parts per million, and Connecticut's was 20 parts per million. So much higher than Rhode Island's was at the time. So that was a legislative change. The law changed as a result of that. An amended study was sent to the Department of Environmental Management to reflect the new standards that were adopted by the legislature and went into effect over the summer. So as to the public hearing that's been brought up this evening, the DEM has been explained as a process that's laid out for requirements for a public hearing, one of this nature. And we were, this was brought to our attention, the developer's attention. We had already reached out to the DEM, and we're certainly on board with that public meeting, and we'll help to get the ball rolling on that as well in any way that we could, though it is DEM's meeting. And we expect that DEM, based on what they've told us, will speak to the regulatory changes that took place and the remediation process in more detail at that hearing. And I'm sure that will answer a lot of questions. Lastly, I just want to touch on one more point, being the zone change conditions. There were several conditions, I believe 12 in total, that were attached to the zone change that was adopted by this council in 2021. One of those being the conveyance of a portion of the parcel to the city of East Providence for open space. The developer has begun conversations with the city through the solicitor and other officials to get this process going. And we'll be meeting with the city through the solicitor and others just to determine which, if any, conditions the city wants to attach to this conveyance. As far as timing goes, different conditions that the city may wish to include, and we'll work with the city to effectuate the conveyance in accordance with those wishes. And any delays that have taken place in that process, we hope don't cause any concern with the council or anything like that. If there have been some delays, it's not any sign of any renegotiating attempt or anything like that. That condition will go forward as was imposed when the zone change went into effect. Those are the main points I wanted to highlight. Again, there's written testimony submitted. I have copies if you'd like, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Through the chair.
Yes, Councilwoman Souza.
So thank you for that update. And I know that the administration, as you've mentioned, has conditions that they're currently working out with the landowners. I know last council meeting, I expressed additional conditions and concerns that I'd like to be addressed during those conversations. And I think that they are relevant to the turning over of that property because it is going to be, we're not redeveloping the property. We want to keep it natural space to utilize. But with some of the conditions that I know the administration is looking for, there is going to be turning over of soil or disruption of soil. And so my request is that that area be tested, that will be the borderline from the developer's property and then the city gifted property or granted property.
I know that the parcel that will be conveyed is to be made open space and to be kept as open space, which to my knowledge, there wouldn't be any development of that property, which I don't think would trigger any requirement to have that tested based on my knowledge here today. But any further proposed conditions or anything like that, I'm sure will be part of the conversation.
Okay. Yeah, so it is my understanding that the administration is seeking to have some type of border, a property line border, a fencing, some type of wall that's going to delineate both properties, and that would then require some manipulation of soil. And that it,
We are aware that you have requested testing of the property. I can assure you that it's been discussion, but there is no intent to use that property other than open space. That's where it was conveyed.
Mhm.
Putting a fence is not considered a soil disturbance, but we can discuss that at a
Okay. Okay.
But they are aware of the council's concerns that were expressed at the last meeting. I did speak with Mr. Berlinski after the meeting. So.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So to be clear to everyone either here or who may be watching, there's no intent on either party, your client or the city, to do anything other than open space for that land that was to be deeded to the city.
Right, as a condition of the zone change.
I mean, it might be a fence or something, I don't know, but when it's open space,
An express condition of the zone.
we need a fence to have open space? I don't know.
I think we want to delineate it from the property owned by the developer. But
Okay.
as you know, that land is currently zoned open space, and it will remain zoned open space.
Yep.
So that was part of it. So again, the type of fence and whatever, we're not quite there yet, but they have been made aware of at least
The open space would mean people could walk on it,
It's a
right?
walking trail. It's not.
It's not
We're not putting tennis courts. We're not putting.
right.
It's just a green.
But you could go for a walk, but would a fence keep you out?
Right. Well,
No.
we don't know that yet.
Okay. All right.
And I just want to say one thing again. My brother, the council indicated that it was a public hearing regarding the community. It's a community meeting, right? So it's a meeting
Right.
to relay information. It's not a
Legal
required
hearing.
public hearing or anything like that where they can impose conditions. It's a meeting to inform the public
Right.
as to what is going on. So
Run by RIDEM.
run by Rhode Island Department of Environmental Management.
Okay.
Right, just to be clear, we're not looking to stop anything. We're just making sure that people are aware of everything that's going on. And if they have questions, to be able to ask them to the people that are appropriate to answer them.
And the letter that we had, well, actually, Ms. Andrade, it was a letter sent to Ms. Andrade. It clearly says the remediation regulations specify that the purpose of the community meeting is to disseminate information about the department's site remediation program and specific contaminated site of interest, document community comments and concerns about the investigation, cleanup, and reuse of the contaminated site, and engage in a dialogue with the public about the contaminated site. That's exactly from their regulations. So that's the purpose of the meeting.
Yep.
I missed some of it again, but I think the more transparent everybody can be in this, the developer, DM, and the people see it, because this is we're on year 6. January. I mean, I remember the date. It's February. How I remember it was because of I'm at a PC basketball game, and my brother was a member at Metacomet, and they're all talking and saying, just got facts and just sold it. And so I know it's 6 years long overdue for this city, and I think the more information they can get, we weren't the council then, but this council likes information and information to the taxpayers. I think the faster we get it, so that nobody thinks that there's any hidden agendas or anything on anybody's part, I think the better off it is. Transparency is the key. I haven't seen a lot of it since I've been on this council since January 23. I think the better, more transparency and open meetings and neighborhood meetings and community meetings will help the cause. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for your time.
Any other speakers?
Yes, Heather Andre.
Welcome, Heather.
It's on. Oh, there it is. Heather Andre, Wampanoag Trail. So I do have a little remark here. Somebody mentioned the golf course and there wasn't any, Met Links, and there wasn't any arsenic on that. Well, it really wasn't given a chance because marshals dug on that land for 6 months without a permit. So that knocks that one off, doesn't it? I was also wondering, is there indigenous representatives on that all week? On the land all week? Oops, sorry.
I'm just looking to see if I have a particular schedule. I know that um, the requirements and the involvement of the indigenous groups was set forth by the Rhode Island Historical Preservation and Heritage Commission. And to date, they've deemed the developer to be in compliance with all of the requirements set forth by them as it relates to those groups. Um, I don't have in front of me what the required schedule is, of those folks to be there, but they've been to date deemed in compliance of those requirements.
If you could, that'd be great. If you had a list of the visitors on the thing, also because I went by there today and there was hazmat suits on this side, and then maybe where Anna is, there was golfers. So this community meeting absolutely needs to get done. And just a little thing on the soil. Contaminated soil doesn't have any boundaries. I mean, and wasn't that L-shaped going to per Bob? Wasn't that going to be a dog park? Bob didn't suggest that.
Again, it was accepted to be open space. There's no plans to make it a dog park. It's a plan to leave it open space for people to walk on.
And
Great.
not this Bob.
No, not you,
Mayor-
Bob.
you mean Mayor
No,
Bob.
not you, Bob. But also, that L-shaped, isn't that part of the easement that Rhode Island Energy has for the towers?
There is an easement on the property. There has been an easement on that property for more than probably 50 years because
Yeah,
the towers are on that. Yes.
Yep, I'm aware. So aren't they changing the towers? Aren't they going to be digging, putting foundations on that land?
I have no idea.
Well, maybe somebody should find out before people say it's open space and nobody's going to be digging on it. Right? I know for a fact, and I also know for a fact, and maybe Pal cannot, I realize this, Pal cannot say anything until the archaeological survey has been done. But yes, there are burials. Please stop. Please stop right now. There are burials. You know it. The indigenous people know it, and it should be marked as, not for nothing, but East Providence does have a responsibility to those indigenous bodies underneath to make sure that everything is on board instead of relying on somebody who says, well, I don't know what the things are. I don't know what the regulations are, but we've met them. That's all I have to say.
That was the last speaker.
Last speaker? Okay. Thank you. I think we at least established that we're moving forward there. Next item?
Number 10, appointments. Appointment of Heather Redmond Pendon to the East Providence Public Library Trustees Commission 3-year term effective April 22, 2026 to the April 23, 29, appointed by Council President Rodrick and Councilman Lawson.
Anybody have a comment, question? I think we heard from some of the library board, and this was a recommendation coming forward. Motion by Councilwoman Souza to approve.
I second it. Heather's a really good, really great person and very valuable asset for that library board.
Thank you. That's a second by Council Vice President Rego. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Council members, number 1, possible vote to have RIDEM schedule a meeting to discuss the SAGE environmental findings at Metacomet property. Councilwoman Souza.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As we've discussed during public comment, I have unofficially, as a council as a whole, reached out to the department and have been in communication, and they have given me an update. But I think it is prudent for the council, if all agreeable, to send an official letter from the city council requesting that this public meeting be had for the community to engage in any questions that they may have regarding the results of the findings and any other remediation processes that they are looking to be informed about. I would also, in that letter, if approved by the council tonight, request that it be held here in the city of East Providence, and that it be at an hour after 4 or 5 in the evening so that residents have the ability to attend after their workday.
And it seems like feedback that you've gotten, Councilwoman, and others, that they're kind of agreeing to this, right? They'll set it up and they'll run it and they'll pick a site. We can offer the library or,
Yeah,
I mean, they could use this building, whatever.
I haven't talked to, sorry.
there's been internal conversation on how to get that process going, but no affirmed date. The gentleman that I have been in communication with is currently on vacation until the 27th. So I have sent my correspondence to one of his delegates and wait to hear back.
Mhm. That's,
So that's a motion for the support of the council to send an official letter to the Department of Environmental Management requesting a community meeting be held within the city boundaries, either at City Hall, Weaver Library.
at some site in East
Yeah,
Providence.
somewhere in East Providence at an hour in which the residents may all attend in the evening.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion by Councilwoman Souza, seconded by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there anyone opposed? The ayes have it. Do you want me to work on, or will you work with the solicitor on a wording of a letter, or I can?
He can
or
work. I can work with him on. Yeah,
Draft a letter and then we'll,
we'll approve it. Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Councilwoman and members. Next item.
Public hearings, ordinance for second and/or final passage for discussion and possible vote. One, ordinance of the Council of the City of East Providence appropriating 1.7 million for the South Broadway and Martin Street utility improvements and paving, introduced by Councilman Fogarty, Councilman President Rodrick, Council Vice President Regal, and Councilman Lawson.
I think Councilman Fogarty, you had the lead on this, and we probably should have Councilwoman Souza, and maybe just isn't listed here, but we've all been talking about this for a long time. Councilman Fogarty, you and I have met with people on South Broadway, Martin Street, that main cut through from Pawtucket Avenue to South Broadway. In addition to speeding and other issues, the street needs work, as many do in the city. But that's an area that needs some.
Yeah, that was within the first year, and I'm happy it's come forward. Thank you, Dan. Thank you to the mayor. Thank you to the staff. I apologize to Councilwoman Souza, myself personally, because I thought we were all on it, but we talked today, and as she knows, my condolences for that happening. And it's very much needed. Infrastructure is very much needed. If Dan wants to say anything about it, he can, but
I think we're all on board. Is there a motion to approve this?
motion to approve.
Motion by Councilman Fogarty, seconded by Councilwoman Souza. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you all. Next item. I'm sorry, that was a public hearing though, right?
Yes.
It-
Did you?
I'll back it up a second. Is anyone here that wants to speak on that? And we can reverse and do it over again. If there's anyone here that wants to speak on that issue of doing the utility work and paving finally on South Broadway and Martin Street. So hearing none, we'll officially close that public hearing. The vote still stands. Next item.
New business, Mayor Communications, Director of Policy and Constituent Services, Andre Herrera.
Welcome again, Andre.
Good evening, Council President, members of the City Council. Just wanted to give the Mayor communications for tonight. Appointments or reappointments requiring council confirmation, there are none. And any reappointments not requiring council confirmation, we have none. Just want to proclaim that Friday, April 24th, 2026 will be Arbor Day in the city. And we're looking forward to many more trees planted. And again, the next update I have is on the Louvre Carousel concession stand, and the administration is pleased to announce that we have reached an agreement with Joe's Snack Shack to operate in the Louvre Carousel concession stand at Crescent Park. And they will be offering traditional Clam Shack favorites, such as clam cakes, clam chowder, and fried fish. And Joe's Snack Shack is owned and operated by Joe Dorado, who has proudly served in the East Providence community for the past 5 years. And he's been at many of our local events and been a staple at our Independence Day festivals, City Hall tree lighting, Winterfest, East Providence Senior Center, and the list goes on. So his deep commitment to the community runs strong, and selecting Joe's Snack Shack helps us keep a true locally rooted business in the heart of one of our most historic parks, and continues our administration and the city's longstanding commitment to small business. So,
Is there any kind of a timetable as we are fast approaching the concert season and the festivals?
yes. So this is going to be before you guys today to
Right.
vote on. So we're hopeful that the council approves this. And Tracy Johnson is also here, our director of the carousel, to answer any additional questions you may have.
Thank you. All right. Yes, Councilwoman.
So this is actually directed to the solicitor. So previously, the city was in a contract with another business, and where do we stand with that contract, since it's still, it was a 3-year?
Yeah, we've agreed to, with both parties have agreed to terminate that lease.
Right, can the council be sent a copy of that written agreement that it's being?
Yes, it's out for signature right now.
Okay, all right, and that signature will come before, so this is dated to commence on May 1st. Is that signature going to be prior to May 1st?
Hoping so. Once they sign it, they have, there's some conditions they have to meet, including removing some of their equipment or whatever they have within 20 days of the execution of that agreement. So yes, we're hoping that.
So we don't have 20 days within the time frame allotted in this resolution. So what is the contingency plan so that we're in agreement and we're not violating a new contract?
So we will either speed ahead on this contract, change the date of it, or we'll figure that out. But I haven't really talked to Tracy about that. I know she's been in contact with the prior tenant, and we've been trying to get them to move on this to get them out of there.
So then would it be prudent for the council to make sure that when we vote, we say that we add that clause that makes sure that the other individual is out of the space prior to this one moving in, just to cover ourselves?
I think that would just be, we couldn't lease the same place twice, so we wouldn't let them move in until such time. So we just need some flexibility, because I don't know how long it's going to take for them to move they at, but we've been trying to get them to move. I know Tracy has. So
and then is there any work that needs to be done to the current facility?
that's a question for Tracy. I'm not sure.
Tracy, if you don't mind, thank you.
Thank you and welcome.
Thank you.
Hope you're feeling better. I know you've been
I am doing much
under the
better,
weather.
thank you. There's no repair work at this time. I've been inside the shack. We've had the fire inspection done. Water's been turned back on. We have a couple of little tiny leaks that we're going to be fixing in-house. So it's really just a matter of what equipment is leaving, what is staying. We did receive a response to the letter that you sent. There's a question if it's required to be notarized. It's going to delay their process. Perfect. I will relay that, and we should have it probably tomorrow.
Is it a significant amount of equipment that's being removed?
Everything.
Okay. All right.
When you talk to Joe's Clam Shack, once all of the logistic stuff is done, once the old tenant is moved out, they're ready to hit the ground running. They're about. Is it going to take them? Or when? Do you have a best guess on when they?
Joe is here.
Oh, is he here?
He does still
Okay.
have to follow all of the licensing protocols. So he'll be back before you for his business licenses. He's going to have to go through the Board of Health, have all of his inspections done. Once he either retains any equipment that's there or, of course, moves his own equipment in. So we're looking at a process. Would I love to say, middle of May? Realistically, I don't think so.
So you're looking at June.
Probably, which is when the concerts
Yeah,
and
that's
lots of
about
the
right.
public activities start.
So everything's being removed based on what you said, and I don't want, I want to get it right here. So everything's being moved out except for probably the Ansel system, which is
Correct. That
which is
retains
ours.
with
That's
the building.
ours. So everything else, if they had their own friolators, everything.
Correct.
So everything but the Ansel system.
And the hot water tank.
Yeah, and well, yeah.
Yep.
So if the prospective new tenant is here, I'll wait until we vote, and then I'd ask you to come forward and we could say hello and welcome to you. So let's continue with this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you very much, Tracy. And at this time, I also want to call up Dan Borges to give an update on the Crescent Park projects that we have going on.
Welcome, Director.
Good evening. So very brief, as you are aware, DPW with Tracy's assistance has been working with the second low bidder for the carousel building. We have finally been able to value engineer that project and get it within the authorized amount that the city council approved some time ago. So we should see shovels on the ground hopefully by the second week of May. They've gotten their purchase order. We have a signed contract. They're working on starting to purchase and order equipment, or I should say supplies for building construction.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. And also appreciate the council for passing, voting to approve the South Broadway and Martin Street infrastructure improvements. And we don't need to be redundant, but we are thankful for your help on that. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Andre.
So, Dan, if you want to give a quick update on the cleaning and lining DPW work.
Thank you. So, as the council is also aware, significant amount of the city has been cleaned and lined west of South Broadway. So here is a first, second, third, all that entire neighborhood has been completed. Sort of as the first year's phasing. The contractor is actively working along Warren Avenue, so as residents probably see a lot of bypass piping on the ground. So the neighborhoods between Warren, Fort, and Broadway are all getting completed now. So the hope is that we'll start seeing a lot of paving being done on the roadways that were completed last year. And then, following obviously this area that I just referred to, and with the council's approval tonight, we're hopefully targeting the completion of all the cleaning and lining within South Broadway and Martin this year as well. It will be a stretch for the contractor. He's certainly pushing to get it done, and the hope is that we can get that paved as well as part of this year's work.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you. It's really nice to see the infrastructure in the city being taken care of. I know it's been years of conversation and planning that took, and I know and I appreciate the council's support financially because it's something that we've been discussing and working towards at the request, obviously, of the residents and just knowing that, it needs to be done because it's been so antiquated and hasn't been done in a while. So, Dan, I appreciate you, all your workers, and all those that are collaborative in doing all of that work. We really appreciate it in the city and Ward 2, especially since that's where it's happening currently.
I agree with that. Thanks a lot, Dan. Thanks for your hard.
Thank you, councilors.
Next item, please.
D, resolutions for discussion and possible vote. Number one, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a lease agreement with Joe's Snack Shack to operate the Louvre Carousel concession stand. Council Vice President Rego, Councilman Lawson.
Well, certainly enough has been discussed about this. Vice President, would you like to
I
make a
was just going
motion?
to say that. I don't know if you talked about having.
Well, after
Joe
the vote, we'll have
yeah,
him
have
come
him
up.
come up. Yeah, I mean,
He's hired.
we've just spent about 20 minutes here talking about this, so I don't think there's anything more to say except let's move this forward, and I make that as a motion.
Second.
Motion by Council Vice President Rego, seconded by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. At this time, I would ask, is it Mr. Dorado? Is that your last name? Joseph, if you could just come forward quickly and we'll let the public see you. Put your best face on because the TV camera will be on you. But welcome to East Providence. And do you have any general comments?
Just currently, I just have the comments. I just want to thank everybody from the city. I submitted my RFP or RFQ, as I've heard a couple times. Been a long time resident of the city for 27 years. I started my business about 5 years ago, and the first few events I did, I think it was a great pumpkin festival back at the Crescent Park Carousel. I'm not exactly sure how long ago, but I seen the building vacant, and it was standing there, and I talked to Tracy about it for years, and I'm just happy that I'm extended the opportunity to take place and operate the clam shack. At the
Will you be operating it yourself? Do you have staff?
So I will be operating it personally myself as much as I possibly can. I do have a current running business that we operate throughout the state, Connecticut, Massachusetts. So I will be there as much as I possibly can myself in the beginning stages to get it up and running. And I do have probably about like 15 days that I will be there personally on the weekends, whether it be Sunday or Saturday. That's to be decided. I'm not exactly sure of that, but I do have a multitude of staff that are highly qualified, highly trained to perform the duties of the clam shack.
Can you give us just a quick summary? I'm sure you don't have everything planned yet, but on a menu, what are you looking to feature?
Yeah. So that's perfect. That's perfect. Pretty easy for me. So I'm just gonna keep it for when I'm not there. I'm gonna keep it. So I'm gonna simplify it a little
Yep.
bit, just so that
Simple is good.
yeah, no mistakes, anything like that. So it's gonna be clam cakes, clam chowder. I'm gonna use blanc clam chowder. If it makes a difference to anyone, I'm gonna use blanc clam chowder. I just find it a little bit easier. No complaints ever.
I like my clam cakes crispy but not burned.
Yes.
You can make a note.
Yes.
But no, I'm kidding. Welcome and thank you for stepping forward.
Thank you.
And anything we can do to help, just let us know.
Good luck. Obviously, you'll schedule a grand opening because I know the mayor likes the ribbon cuttings.
Yes.
And everything. So we'll have that. And you're a local person. You have family ties here, which is absolutely great. I'm happy. I feel bad for the former company, but it's great that we now have a local person, at a local venue, historical venue there. And I wish you nothing but the best success. And I'll even come down and buy the council president his clam cakes.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'll have the East Providence Post there to verify that because that may not happen. But thank you and good luck. Stay in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Good luck.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Next item, please.
Number two, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract for the South Broadway and Martin Street utility improvements and paving project. Councilman,
Is this different from what we did earlier?
Yeah.
Oh, the actual work. Okay.
This is for Councilman Fogarty and Council President Rodrick.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilman Fogarty, seconded by Councilwoman Souza to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next
Number
item.
three, resolution of the City Council in support of fully funding state aid to libraries to full 25%. Council President Rodrick.
I motion to approve.
Motion by Councilwoman Souza to approve this, second by Councilman Fogarty. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Number 4, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with True North Civil for construction of grant-funded right-of-way improvements in a portion of Taunton Avenue associated with One Neighborhood Builders Center City Apartments Development. Council President Rodrick.
Again, this is the contract work for the right-of-way improvements that are needed. I think the funding has been previously approved. This is nothing additional. It was grant funded, right? Any comments? Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
Motion, Council Vice President Rego, seconded by Councilwoman Souza. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it.
Number 5, resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with Vanassi Hangen Bruslin, Inc., VHB, for engineering and project management services associated with the city's US Dot Smart Grant Project. Council President Rogers.
Again, the grant funded this project. It's a mouthful for the names, Vanassi Hangen Bruslin, Inc. They're ready to move forward.
So, Mike, if I could,
Yes.
through the chair, this is just for the traffic signaling lights, correct? This doesn't involve any other, like pedestrian lights, pedestrian walkway signals. It's strictly for the traffic signaling. I read through. the
Yeah, I have
contract,
it
but
here.
I just wanted to make sure, and this is
Certain traffic signals in the Warren Avenue, Broadway area.
it's going to be
Advanced.
very specific
Yeah,
traffic signaling.
yes.
As indicated in the backup, it indicates where those signals are.
Yeah, so this company is going to have that data. Is that data going to be shared with the police department? Is that something that we'll have access to?
I'll have to get back to you on that. I don't know the answer.
Okay. All right. It wasn't clear in the language if the city was going to have any rights to any of that data. So yeah.
I can find out.
All right. That would be great. Thank you. And then I did see that there was going to be training for up to 4, city employees to learn, I guess, about this device. So I'm assuming that must mean that we're going to have some say. I don't know if.
Must be a way to, I think it was for operating the signals to
Yeah.
learn how to,
Right. So I'm just wondering.
in case there's a
That.
problem or they had to adjust it if there were an accident.
Right. Right. All right. Yeah. If we could that would be great to get that back.
I'll have probably Dan give you contact directly.
Yeah, that's perfect. All right, thank you. With that, I make a motion to approve because as I've been championing safety throughout the city, especially in these high traffic areas in the center of the city, I'm glad to see that we're working towards finding other alternatives to keep the traffic
Getting there.
flowing. But, we still have a lot to do, especially when it comes to pedestrians and cycling. So I'm looking forward to that next phase.
Motion by Councilwoman Souza, seconded by Councilman Fogarty and Council Vice President Rego. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The ayes have it. Next item.
The introduction of ordinance for discussion and possible vote. Number 1, an ordinance and amendment of Chapter 10 of the revised ordinances of the City of East Providence, Rhode Island, 1998, as amended, entitled Nuisances, amending Section 10-5110, changing start time for construction or repair of buildings from 7 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Councilman Fogarty.
Yes.
Councilman.
Thank you. Nothing much to say except that we have people that want to work early. And we negotiated. I tried for 6 a.m. Those that are watching, the builders and the landscapers, but we went for 6:30 because I think that's a good time. And there's workers on site as early as 5 prepping for this kind of work. I was a landscaper back in the day, started at 5:30 in the east side of Providence. And I know Providence is earlier, so I would hope I have council support on this. So I make a motion.
I would support. I do have a question. Is this for any kind of work? If your neighbor wants to have a leaf blower at 6:30 in the morning?
Listen, you already know they're working on Merritt Road early.
No, I'm in general.
Well, I
mean,
meant construction. I mean,
by construction, do we mean
I would
company
put it
or-
in for companies of construction phases. So I wouldn't think that would be a local neighbor landscape.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'd have to defer.
But I think we
the
could.
language.
Yeah.
So motion is by Councilman Fogarty. Is there a second?
I second the motion.
Second, Council Vice President Rego.
So just for discussion.
Councilwoman, yes.
Yeah, just for discussion,
Discussion.
because I think it's a tough balance
Yeah.
with the time. I think, as you mentioned, Councilman, there are plenty of businesses, landscaping, and definitely construction who are out early and they have to get their day started, especially when we don't have the sunlight and the days end early. So I agree that allowing them to be able to start, I do have concerns about them in the residential area only because people are, again, sleeping. So and that's more so, just to be perfectly transparent, the younger generation, right, who don't get up at 4 a.m.
I
typically.
understand. Yeah. There
So
will be some, hiccup.
yeah, there's right. So we may be eliciting some phone calls if and when this passes, but it is what it is, right? It's a tough balance.
It's an early day for a lot of people. I mean, I
Early
have
day.
birds waking me up at 4:30 in the morning. Besides my Chuck, which is Chuck this week, he's Charlie, but sometimes he's Chuck. And there is a lot of people that are up early planning and working.
Oh,
And I know people that work the 3 to 11. I worked all the shifts.
Yeah.
I worked every shift there was. So I thought about it. It was asked by a builder. And I think it was a very legitimate question for those that work early in the morning. And 6:30 is not that bad. I mean, the trash is by our house earlier than that.
Yeah.
Picking up yard debris and
Right.
and some of the dumpsters are being emptied earlier than that.
Yeah, no,
So I mean, I felt it was a good request, and the staff that they have are on site ready to work, and rather than be paid to just wait for the time, they can get started. I think
Yeah, I
it's-
don't
think it's a
disagree. I
reasonable
think
hour.
it is. I'm just
I
voicing.
don't think there'll be that many, but if
Yeah.
there is, I would have that answer as respectful as I could give them, that it's work to be done.
No, agreed.
Well, and like any other ordinance, if it becomes a big problem, we'll revisit it.
Later in the day, it's hard if they can.
Oh
finish
yeah,
a little
midday
earlier.
is awful
Yeah,
to be
so
out there. I feel
If they
bad.
can
for
wind it
them.
down early, that would be good
Right,
too.
take
There's
a-
a few ways to look at it and answer people with concerns.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't
That was
agree.
my
I
thought
support
process, so.
the ordinance, but I do know for some it will be an issue. But
Yeah, I don't
again,
think there's
that's
that many using it either, Councilwoman. I mean, I'm sure there would be some companies right away, but I don't see it being.
yeah, I don't think it's
major
an
phone
issue really probably with the bigger development
Yeah.
of builders because they're usually in areas. I think getting maybe clarification from the city solicitor as to if this ordinance, because it's not here in its entirety, if this really just is specific to construction or if other things like landscaping and such is affected by this. Because I know the picking up dumpster trashes, historically I've had people call because it's been too early and they've had to notify the companies and tell them you can't come by at certain times because it doesn't fall within the ordinance. So I just want to make sure that everybody's aware if it does branch out into something else, which I think is just a reasonable question.
I don't have the answer in front of me,
Okay.
but I'll get that answer before
Yeah.
the next public hearing.
Okay.
You know, I think, and I discussed this with Councilman Fogarty, that 6:30 is a good compromise, and with the way business and everything, and we as a city, I've been very fortunate that in the northern part of this city right now, the street cleaners have been out. People are very happy with that. And the street, I got one call. The street cleaners out there at least 6:30 because I was coming back from the gym at about 6:45 this morning, and he was down on Miller off Pawtucket. So, and I know when they hit my street. So we as a city is out there. I think I don't think anybody's gonna really abuse the situation. And I think it just gives those contractors time to get their equipment there. Because if we wait till 7, then by the time they start going and dropping off things, it's, as Councilman Fogarty, and time's money, and the way the margins are so tight in every business that I think we're just helping it be a user-friendly situation.
All right. So we have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Can I make
Motion, Councilwoman Souza. Council, everybody else, seconds. All in favor?